So in that last one, we actually set up Python to send emails with Gmail. And this one, what we're going to do is take that one step further and actually set up our emails to be sending HTML messages as well as plain text messages with even a subject line, something we just didn't have in the last one. So let's go ahead and do that. What I'm going to actually do here is I'm going to save a new file, and I'm going to call this HTML format email.py. And we're going to do a lot of the same stuff we did before. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and copy all of these things right here, paste that in here so we have a reference. Basically, we have our host, our port, username, password, from list to list. What we want to change is this, what happens here, or more specifically, what happens right here. Now to do this, there's another Python module called email, and that Python module is available here. If you just search Python email and go to the Python version you're using, you will find this module. There's a lot of stuff here, which I'm not going to get into, but what I am going to get into is using meme multipart and meme text. So meme multipart means that we can actually attach something to our email that allows it to be either plain text or HTML text. So if you use Gmail, you are very familiar with HTML text. But we also want to have a fallback for plain text. So right here, this is plain text. But let's actually look at it if we try to use HTML. So if I just put a bold tag in front of hello, and then maybe a break line after it, of course, that's HTML formatting there. And we tried this out inside of Python. Let's go ahead and copy this whole thing. Copy and paste it. And it looks like our email worked. I closed the connection, and let's go back into Chrome, look at our email, and we notice that it doesn't actually render HTML at all. So that's what we're going to be solving here, is we're going to have it render HTML as well as some plain text. So to do this, we're going to import a couple things here, and that's from email.meme or mime.multipart. Import meme multipart. Meme multipart. Okay. And now we're going to do the same thing with meme text. We'll do from email.meme.text import meme text. Okay, so we already have this stuff set up for us. So I'm actually going to bring these to the top because you want to organize your imports alphabetically, and Python imports are always going to be at the very top. That's just a rule of thumb. Okay, so now that we've got those things imported, I'm going to say the underscore MSG equals to, so the message equals to meme multipart, and it's going to be alternative. This is just a standard way of calling an HTML message. So meme multipart alternative. So you're basically, when you actually send this message, the server or the email server that you're sending it to will understand what's going on here. It will parse this data. So the underscore message and subject, and we'll say subject equals to hello there, and then the underscore message from, you can say your from email here, so from underscore email, and you could also say the underscore message to and set a to item here, so likely a single item, but let's try it with a list. So this is a list item, notice the brackets. All right, so this is setting up a lot of that stuff. And now we'll just do plain text. So I'll do plain underscore txt equals to testing the message. And then I'm going to paste in some HTML text here to save a little bit of time, and so you don't have to watch me type out some HTML. You could pause it now and just copy this, but this is going to be HTML underscore txt. Notice it's just a very plain HTML document. We have a paragraph tag, and it just says whatever, and it has a link, and so on. Okay, cool. So now what we are going to do is set our first part, so part 1 equaling to meme text. And this is going to be our text, so our plain text, and comma, plain, right? and then we'll do part 2 equals to meme text, and this is going to be our HTML text, comma, HTML. Now we just want to attach this to our HTML message. So we'll say the message, or excuse me, not the HTML message, but our email message, our meme multi-part message, dot attach, oops, and it's going to be part 1, and then the message attach part 2. So we just attached these to our message. Now, what we can do is use this as a string. So let's actually see the message as string. Let's actually print that out and take a look at it before we actually send it. And it's really just this stuff right here, but I have to do all my imports. So I'm going to copy this, bring all my imports in, and now I'm going to copy all of this stuff. Make sure I might have had some spelling errors or some mistakes there, but let's take a look. And we get list object has no attribute in code. Remember that list thing? That's this right here. So I'm going to just leave it out. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this and bring it back in. And now what we see is our email message actually being created for us. Content type, multi-part, version, subject, from. It has our plain text message here. And then it has our HTML text message here. So when you send this message out to an email server, it's going to know how to parse it and how to change how it should look in its own device. So that's something fairly important, but that's how we do it. We did it just fine. And notice the message to, if we change that to being the first item inside of that list, we shouldn't have any issue here. So I paste that in, and of course there is no issue, but it now has a to item inside of this content type or this message. I'm going to leave that out because we don't need it, specifically because when we send mail, we actually have a item for that list. So now let's actually send this item. It's really simple. I'm going to go ahead and cut this part out and put it after the message. And now instead of writing out this string here, we're just going to do underscore the message as string and using the parentheses again. Now we have our message. I'm going to go ahead and not print it this time. But remember last time when we had the connection issues and we had to do that try block stuff, I still actually want to have those things. I did import this SMTP exception error, and that's something I will actually import or use again this time. So what I actually want to do here is just put this whole thing into a try block and tab that in. So now the whole thing's in a try block because I want to handle the exception. If all of that does not work, I'm just going to say except. And now I'm going to use SMTP lib dot, and going back into custom, the SMTP exception. We're just going to print error sending message. All right, I'm going to get rid of all the unnecessary space because we're going to be copying and pasting this inside of the Python shell. So let's get rid of all that. I can keep that comment in there, but everything else needs to go. So let's go ahead and try this out. I'm going to go ahead and copy it. All my imports should already be in there, so I shouldn't have to do those again. And the SMTP lib is already imported up here, so I don't actually have to import the exception itself. So again, I could copy and paste everything or just the try block like I'm going to do. Copy that, paste it in here, press enter a couple times, and I don't see any errors happening, meaning this print error sending message did not happen. All of this other stuff happened. So let's go ahead and look at our email now. And what we see here is it says hello there. We now have a actual subject, and it says, hey, this is email message made by Team CFE, right? So notice it says a BCC to me, right? So it's basically saying, it's kind of ignoring the fact that we didn't actually set this up, right? So that is something to think about, because realistically, we probably, when we send an email to somebody, we probably want it to show just their email, even though the BCC is coming through. It's not a huge problem, but it is something to think about, and it will give you a greater appreciation for Django's built-in send email function if you've ever used that, or once you do start to use that. Anyways, this is it. We now have an HTML formatted email service. We can actually send out emails to our users like we've done with some of our code before. So that's where I'm going to leave it now. If you have any questions on this, let us know. Otherwise, let's keep going.